Hi, my name's Teresa Lynn, and I am a member of the Digital Language Diversity Project. And I want to talk to you about the importance of social media for the survival of minority languages. So most of us are aware of the risk that technology has had on minority languages. And this risk has evolved through the development of tools, technologies that will support the processing of text or speech, so supporting languages online or through technology. However, often these tools are not designed to support minority languages. So the developers might feel that the demand is not there and it's not worth designing or adapting the tools. So in that way, there is a risk of digital extinction. Now, however, technology, on the other hand, has actually helped minority languages, and it has helped them through the development of social media platforms. And most people today are familiar with some sort of social media platform. So this could be Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, anywhere people can interact together within groups and share ideas, share photos, share their life together. And it's the connection that's important here. So prior to these type of social media platforms, it would have been very difficult for dispersed communities who are speakers of minority languages to actually communicate and keep in contact with each other, or even be aware of each other's existence. So what's happened now within the digital world, online, the world has become smaller because people are able to connect with each other and to find each other. And so what we have found is that a lot of strength has evolved within these minority linguistic groups because they've managed to come together online as groups, whereas otherwise they might have not known each other. Also, this type of online presence has encouraged more people to use their language, their minority language, if they hadn't otherwise. It also creates awareness that there's actually this linguistic community out there that otherwise might not have been evident to some people. So, for example, I'm Irish, and in Ireland we have two official languages. And the first official language is Irish, and the second official language is English. However, if you travel to Ireland on a holiday, or even if you live in Ireland but perhaps not in a native speaking area, you might be of the opinion that the Irish language is non-existent or almost dead, and you can be forgiven for believing that, because we will judge our surroundings based on what we see and what we believe to be reality. However, this online presence of Irish speakers has actually challenged that belief in many ways. And through technology, we are even able to track, sometimes if somebody allows this through their mobile phone or their device, through geolocation, we can track where somebody may have tweeted in a particular language. And so, for example, tweeted in Irish, if you have a belief that only in the west of Ireland, in what we call the Gaeltacht areas, if you think that Irish speakers really only reside there, and perhaps a few in larger cities like Dublin or Cork, you'd be impressed to find out that through technology we can track the activity of Irish language speakers in their use of online technology. And so this creates a bigger picture and a newer picture to actually show that Irish is strong and it is growing. We can also see this growth if we track the usage of Twitter, for example, and how many people would tweet in Irish, say, 10 years ago, to how many people are tweeting today. We can also show the trend over a couple of months of how many people would be having conversation through Irish and using Irish as their main language for communication online. So in this way, we can actually challenge some beliefs and potentially change policy with respect to languages, because we get to see an everyday use and on the spot use of a language that otherwise might not have been evident through surveys and interviews and so on, which would have been the traditional way to establish how many speakers there are of a language. And sometimes the census figures might not actually indicate how strong a language is. So in this way, technology and social media can help in that respect. And the other way, of course, is the communication and the contact with each other. So if you're a speaker of minority language online and you then discover other groups, so this could be through interest groups, special interest groups, on perhaps a site like meetup.com, or through Facebook, or even Instagram and Snapchat, you begin to realize that there's more speakers of your language out there who you can communicate with. And this has become particularly important for the revival of Cornish, which is in the southwest, language that was almost extinct in the southwest of England. And so Cornish speakers became connected through social media groups, and therefore the speaking groups and communities have grown, and language classes have evolved, and there are now language learners for all ages of Cornish. And so this is not just unique to Celtic languages, it's a minority language thing. So we should be able to find that minority languages can benefit from technology, and especially through the social media platforms worldwide. And the importance is to try to fly the flag yourself for your language. Try to take it upon yourself. Don't wait for the governments or those in charge or those making policies to protect the language or to revive it, because it actually should be grassroots. And this grassroots movement can happen through online usage. And so if, for example, and I'll bring it back again to Irish, we have found that there is a stronger movement of Irish language use in daily use and a normalisation of it. And this has been helped on by a monthly meetup called the Pop-Up Gaeltacht. So Gaeltacht is the name of the areas in the west of Ireland where people will speak their native language on a daily basis. So a Pop-Up Gaeltacht, the idea is that there's like a mini Gaeltacht area within a city or a town for a few hours. Usually it's some meeting point, and in Ireland it's in a pub, and we can draw in 100 to 150 people for a night who are Irish speakers who want to reconnect and come together. So the Pop-Up Gaeltacht movement has taken off through social media, and it's through the ability to communicate and to draw people in through social media that has made this successful. There's no doubt that if this movement was attempted 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it wouldn't have been so successful, because it wouldn't have been so easy to spread the word and to encourage people to come along. So something like this would be an example that could help other languages worldwide. Another benefit that social media has provided for minority languages is the ability for researchers like me in the area of computational linguistics to see the language in use as it is today, like a snapshot in time. And through this we're able to challenge these ideas that the language might be archaic or outdated, or if it hasn't evolved. What we're able to see is that most minority languages, if not all, I haven't analysed all of them, but the trend is that minority languages evolve in the same way as major languages do. For example, on Twitter we can see that people are shortening words, using text speak, making up new words, and code switching. And this type of linguistic analysis, the approach that we take is a descriptive analysis. So we're describing what we see rather than a prescriptive analysis where we're saying how a language should behave or how a language should be. So if you take the descriptive analysis and we observe a phenomenon like code switching, we can see that minority language use is possible in a perfectly balanced way, in a bilingual manner, beside the majority language, which it may compete against, if you like. So often majority languages are code switched very naturally. So for example, in the US, English and Spanish are code switched by a large number of people on a daily basis, and this is both in spoken language and online. And if we start analysing online minority and majority languages, we will find that the same type of switching will occur, the same restrictions and rules will be evident as to how and when language can switch. And through that we're able to see this evidence that the languages can coexist, and that within a bilingual society both languages are welcome to be used. And finally, we've been focusing on existing speakers of minority languages, but online forums in social media platforms are actually a very good environment for encouraging learners of languages. So either through communicating online or through finding classes in their area, for example. And learners should be encouraged online, not discouraged, not corrected for their grammar mistakes. It's not a school. In a social environment, there should be more relaxed learning environment and encouragement from those who are more fluent speakers. And so this finally is my message, is that we should harness social media to help our languages to grow. So if you don't see an online presence for your own minority language, why don't you create it and be the grassroots movement that's needed?